Thank you, Scott, for having me back. This is a great fight. I'm glad to be back and give the fans what they want to see, a good fight.
Great fight. Let's open the questions for KJ.
KJ, I think a lot of people expected you to easily win this fight, and you landed some pretty big shots against Conor in this bout. Were you surprised that he wasn't going down after you landed some of those big shots?
No, I know he was a game fighter. He comes in shape. I could hear his corner. They came up with a really good game plan. And for him, I felt like, he had nothing really to lose. He's looking to make a name. So I knew he was coming. He's a tough opponent. And, much respect to him. It was a great fight. I give him a lot of props.
Right here.
KJ, congrats on your win. It was a great fight. It was also a close fight. I guess, how are you feeling coming out of the first round? He did get mount on you, and he was landing some shots which you were able to get out of that tough position. So I guess, what were your thoughts coming out of the first round?
He got me on the ground. He got me in some pretty tough positions. I'm glad it went there so people could see that I could get out of that. He actually, I don't know, I've never had a rib broke, but my rib's all the way out right now in that body triangle. So I heard it crack. And after the first round, during the break, I couldn't really breathe. So, I just fought through it, man. I fought with a shattered foot last fight. I fought with a dislocated or broken rib this fight. That's what I trained for. You guys, the fans out there, they want to see a good fight. That's what I want to deliver.
Over here.
KJ, congratulations on a great win tonight. From here, where do you go? Do you want to campaign in the lightweight division against Gilbert Melendez, or do you want to go see Nick Diaz one more time for the welterweight title?
I think there's a lot of great fights out there for me. There's so many great competitors at the 155. So, whoever Scott wants me to go up against, I'm definitely down. I know they're very interested in the Diaz fight, so am I. So I'm willing to fight wherever, I feel like I can contend with anybody. I want to just put on good fights. This is what I do, and people pay for that. I just want to put on good fights. So whatever, don't matter. 170, 155. I want to win 2 titles. I want to win another title at 155. I want to win I only want to fight one person at 170. So I'll win that title, and then I want to win a boxing title eventually too. Everybody says I can't do it. Why can't I do it? I want it. That's one of my dreams. So I just want to go through and keep working hard.
KJ, any plans on or any desire to go back and fight Charles Crazy Horse Bennett?
I was a little disappointed because that was my only loss. But I trained going into the training camp. I mentally didn't know if he was ever going to show. He's crazy. You know what I mean? So I just trained super hard, and I got a tougher opponent, I think. But if they want that fight in the future, I'm willing to take it. Whatever Scott and Strikeforce wants, I'm down for. I want to be a team player and put on the best fights.
Did fighting a different opponent in Conor Hume throw you off at all in terms of game planning?
No, I train every fight in every style. Wrestling, jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, all of it, conditioning. I try to get better every fight, so it didn't really matter.
A question each for both of you, please. First, KJ, I asked you this backstage, but were you surprised by the split decision, and especially the first score, obviously 30-27, a judge not giving you any other rounds?
It was close. It was a close fight. He's a gamer. I don't take nothing away from him, but I mean, it's just simple math. Give him the first round, 10-9. I knocked him down twice, right? So you got a -2, -10. What's that? 9-8, and I felt like I edged out the last 2 rounds, so. Close? Yeah. But it was a good fight. I don't take nothing away from him. I'm not going to complain. It is what it is. That's why sometimes you can't let the judges go to the scorecards. I probably should have brought it more. So it is what it is.
Just a quick follow-up. When you walked back to your corner after the fight, in your mind, did you think that it was really close, or once the scores were read, then you thought it was close?
I felt like I won. I knew I won, but when the scores are read, I was a little bit surprised. But hey, it is what it is. When the judges, you leave in the judge's hand, you never know. You never know what you're gonna get.
Right.
But it's you just got to go out there and and try to finish. But you can't leave it in the judges' hands.
Okay, and real quick, Scott, KJ has announced that he'd like to win the 155 title, the 170 title, or one guy at 170 who actually has the title. And boxing, as the promoter of KJ Noons, is that possible for KJ Noons?
I mean, I think that we wouldn't be opposed to it, but I think we're going to keep him very busy with a schedule that we haven't even sat down talking about it. But I think we're going to have 20 fights over the next 12 months, so we're going to keep him very busy. And then the fights, I think in the 155-pound weight class that he's going to want, we're going to be able to deliver. And the fights with Nick Diaz, I think, and you guys probably know more, but I think he's the last guy to beat Nick Diaz, if that's correct. Is that correct?
Yes, I think
Okay,
so.
so that's a fight that probably should happen, right? So I'm sure that KJ would love to fight Nick, and I'm sure Nick would like to fight KJ. So at some point, they should probably get it on again.
Okay, just really quick. Jake Shields was another fighter who said, I want to fight in 2 divisions. Are you leaning towards getting away from that so you can start solidifying the divisions more and getting the pecking order together?
Not really. I mean, to me, it's, KJ can fight at both weights. And, if he fights at 55, I think he's going to be very competitive. If he fights at 170, he's already proven he's already beat Nick Diaz. So, and Nick Diaz is a great, probably pound for pound, one of the best in the world right now. And he's the last guy to beat him, so I think that speaks for itself.
Hi, Dan Plasma with a question for Scott Coker. Scott, you've got such interesting personalities in the league, such as Nick Diaz, and then, of course, his polar opposite, Tim Kennedy, who's an American hero.
Right.
Any thoughts about bringing Charles Crazy Horse Bennett into the league?
Well, I don't want to get into too many details, but we had originally, or I thought we had originally had a deal for him to fight KJ. But let's just put it this way, it didn't work out, and will we try to put it back together again? We might. Are we going to be as motivated as we were before? Probably not. So, we'll wait, just wait and see, and give us a couple weeks. But when he says Crazy Horse is crazy, he's telling the truth. So, maybe he never signed a contract he didn't like. So let's see what happens.
Scott, don't you feel it's a little risky to bring in Crazy Horse given his track record of no showing fights and also that he just lost in the AFL?
Well, I'll tell you, I didn't see the fight, and I don't know how competitive it was, but the way the business went down with Crazy, I would say that we're less motivated. So that's all I'd like to say about that, because you know what, I wish the guy luck. He's an MMA fighter, and he's fought some great fights, and I wish him well. Great. Thanks, KJ.